Everybody over here, sideboard. Graydon, what's SWBA stand for? Students will be able to. The T is silent. Solve equations for a specific variable and use formula, section 1.6, okay? This is a largely algebraic concept in nature, okay? This is a largely algebraic concept in nature, but we're reviewing it here in geometry because it's very useful as we move forward, okay? So we're going to review it here in geometry because it's very useful as we move forward to know how to use formulas and manipulate them, okay? Okay, talk. Solving for a specific variable. Some equations have more than one variable, okay? That's like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or more, okay? So it may be helpful to isolate. What's isolate mean? Get it by itself, on its own, one of the variables. Sometimes it's helpful to isolate one of the variables to solve the equation for one of the variables. If any of you are in chemistry or going to take chemistry at some point, or physics, this is a concept you use in physics and chemistry quite a bit. Okay, it's a concept you use in physics and chemistry quite a bit. It's to be able to solve an equation for a variable. Okay, it's to be able to manipulate the equation in that way.
I can't read it anymore.
What was that noise that came out?
Example, solve each equation for the variable indicated. 15 equals 2n plus 6p for n. What variable are we trying to get by itself here? N. Okay? So, we're going to think of this very similarly, okay, as if this was like 15 equals 2n plus 6. Even if this p wasn't there, okay? We're going to solve it very similarly to that, okay? We're just going to get n by itself. So we think of, oh, we need to get n by itself. So what's happening with n? It's being multiplied by what number? 2. And it's being added by 6p. It's being added by 6p. So if this was just any other equation, so let's just say I wrote this equation off the side, don't write this off the side. I just wrote this equation off the side though myself, and I wrote like 15 equals 2n plus 6. What would you do here first to solve? Subtract 6, right? So in this case, what would I do here to solve? Subtract 6p. We're going to think of it very similarly. We're going to undo that addition first. Okay, we're going to undo the addition first. Just like you would do in this equation, we're going to undo the addition first. Now here's the thing. Can you actually do 15 minus 6 here on this made up equation? Can we do that subtraction? Yeah, we can get 9. Okay? Can we do 15 minus 6p? No, because they're not like terms. Okay? P is a variable here, and there's no variable here. They're not like terms. So that means we just write it as 15 minus 6p equals 2n. And 6p minus itself is 0, right? 6p minus itself is 0. You betcha. Okay, so now, how do we get 2 by itself? Or how do we get n by itself? Peyton?
Riley, that was my answer. Divide 2.
Divide by 2. Now, do we just divide the 6p by 2?
No.
The whole left side by 2. Very good, okay? So, now does 2 go into evenly to all of this? No, okay? So we can leave our answer one of 2 ways, okay? We can leave our answer one of 2 ways, and I'll show you this here, okay? So you can either just leave it as 15 minus 6p over 2 is equal to n. You can leave it like that. I'd be fine with this. I'd be fine with that because 2 doesn't go evenly into all of that. Or, if you guys wanted, additionally, you guys could do this, okay? So I'm saying, or you could do this. You could split up this fraction into 15 over 2 minus 6p over 2 equals n. But hey, wait, can we actually reduce this 6p and 2 now? Yeah, okay, so you can do 15 minus 2 minus 3p is equal to n. If you wanted to, you could write your answer either of those 2 boxed ways, okay? Now, whichever one you want is fine by me. Now, if 2 went into all of this, if 2 went into 15 and a 6, then we could essentially factor out, so to speak, like we practiced in Algebra 1, a 2 and divide. But we can't really do that here. Yes, ma'am? If you wanted to, you could change it to 7.5. Oftentimes in here, I'll just leave numbers as fractions if there are
Like,
starting as a fraction.
put it as like 7 and then 1 over 2.
You can do a mixed number too if you wanted. I'm perfectly okay with improper fractions in my geometry class. I'm okay with improper fractions.
Good.
Personally. I know some teachers are gonna vary on that. Personally, I'm okay with improper fractions. Kevin.
How do you get 3p to a fraction?
6p divided by 2, so 6 and 2 divided by 3. And because 3 and p are 6 and p are multiplying, we can divide multiplication. Okay. Whereas we could just divide the 2 and slash away here, like we can here, because 2 doesn't go into 15. And we can't divide subtraction, we can divide multiplication, which is happening between 6 and p, after we split up subtraction. Okay. So I would say most commonly, you guys are more likely going to choose this top option because it's less work and because it's a little. I think this is honestly even cleaner looking than this. But I would say this top one's probably going to be the more common one we do. But you guys really could do either. That's fine. I just wanted to show you that it's an option. Okay.
Pick red.
Literally, what is the opposite of red?
That's no.
It crashed.
Green.
And I hoop. Crashed.
Purple. Green. Purple.
I believe in you, Acting Inspire.
I
It
want
worked.
McDonald's.
Don't attempt to recover. No.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
No, that's a lot.
That's okay.
Don't care. That's what you gotta say.
Don't care.
I don't understand that.
Okay, so now we're right off where we start where we were. I'll just rewrite what we did.
It's so cold in here.
Hurry,
Fast,
fast,
fast, fast,
I think
fast,
you
fast.
can.
Is it possible? I feel like it's a worse learning environment for
That's all I
me.
needed to write, because I'll get a regular one later.
James.
Yes, my brain cells are freezing because I'm cold.
So, on our next one,
You pick.
k minus 2 over 5, k minus 2 over 5 equals 11j. What variable are we solving for?
J.
K, okay? Solving for k. It's like somebody sent you a long text, you say k, okay? Or you give them this equation and tell them to solve for k, and just give them the math equation, okay? Hey, how would we get k by itself here, Peyton?
You have to like split like k over 5 and then wouldn't it be
That's not it.
We could,
and
you
then
could.
minus 2 over 5 and then like move the 2 over 5 over.
Okay, we could, if we did that, hold up before we write this down, we could split that, like we split this here,
Okay,
and move the 2 over 5 by adding. We're dealing with what kind of work then? We're dealing with fractions, right? There's also a way we can do this and get rid of fractions. It's called clearing a fraction. What do we do when we do that, Alyssa? Yeah, if we multiply both sides by 5 here,
Wait, couldn't you do 5 over K?
5 over what?
Okay.
You could, but we want the k in the numerator where it's at.
Oh,
We like the k in the numerator,
You're right.
okay? So multiply by 5, we can think of this as a 5 over what number?
1.
1. Sometimes that helps us to remember that what's going to happen with this 5 and this 5.
They're gonna go away.
Okay, I don't like the word cancel. They're going to divide out. They're going to simplify out. This becomes a 1. This becomes a 1. Okay? What's 1 times k minus 2? K minus 2, okay? Over, well, 1. So we have to write over 1?
No.
No, okay? What's 5 times 11j?
55J.
55j, okay? There's no addition or subtraction. You don't have to distribute. You just multiply, okay? So now we have k minus 2 equals 55j. So we could have split up the fraction, and we can get the right answer that way. But I think this is a little bit easier. I think it's a little bit simpler if we do it this way, okay? If we get rid of that fraction right away,
I guess you're right.
because the whole left side is being divided by 5, we can get rid of it by multiplying the whole left side by 5, okay? And so now, what do we do to get k by itself, Kevin?
Add 2.
Add 2. Now, can we add 55j and 2 like straight up? No, we just have to write it though. So k is equal to 55j plus 2. And that's our answer. We're okay with that. We didn't get just like k equals 4. We're okay with that. We can't get any simpler.
Question, why are we doing this?
Because it's useful to be able to solve formulas for a specific variable, and we're going to use that later in geometry as well, and be able to use formulas. That's why we're doing this. Kevin.
How did you get the final answer like over 1?
So we decided to multiply both sides by 5. It's just because we say the multiplication property of equality tells us we can multiply both sides of the equation by the same thing. This stays true. We chose 5 because that's what it's being divided by. How do we undo division? Multiply. So we said multiply by 5, and a lot of times it's easier for us to think about it since this is already a fraction, to think of this one as a fraction. Think about any number over here. So we think of it as a fraction just because a lot of times it's easier for us mentally to process it. We don't have to put it in there. We don't want. Does that make more sense?
We did the next one by ourselves.
Okay. Oh, that's a great idea. Let's do that next one by ourselves. Okay. Number 3, I want you to solve for W on your own. Once you have it, we'll have questions. I want you to raise your hand.
Wait,
Just 3 right now. So we need to get all W's by themselves, right?
Oh shoot, that's dumb.
Okay, so now we're gonna restart.
Shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't understand.
yeah,
Okay, this is 1. Oh, 1 was 5. Why? Okay. So I was, when I see this, is what I think you're writing. Just so you know, so I understand. I think you're writing what you're actually writing.
no, but like this.
That way I would know, that way I don't have to think, oh, you're saying this, okay. Now, that is a, oh, it is negative. That is positive, excuse me. I don't know. Where did I put my pen out? Put my pen over here. Okay, Taylor, go home check.
Not really. Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Fossil, have you figured it out
Very
yet?
good, go home check.
Make it so I should try this.
I figured what out, yeah.
Never mind, you forgot. Wait, I don't even. So, Fossil, may I please use the restroom?
No.
Man, what's in your bag? Let's see, I need to go pee
glad
before
you
you need
forgot
to
to
go.
go
Mr. Fossil, please, can I use the restroom?
Oh, where's that?
Oh,
Oh, you're right. Okay.
I think so.
Hey.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't want to
Remember, when you're done or have questions, I want you to raise your hand. When you're done or have questions, I want you to raise that hand.
Taylor?
Rachel?
You guys are irresponsible. Wait.
Says you don't even have one.
Don't even at me like that, Riley.
You just did.
Don't ever come at me like that again.
And that's just like Crim's hair.
Don't. I already did.
Oh my
Don't you see it? Right? Right? I do. That's what I'm talking about. I can like pull the picture.
I want to take a picture of
Ow.
this.
That's funny.
Wait,
Yeah.
what area are you supposed to be in?
But Link's will just like a little bit more masculine. I don't know what it's true.
Maybe this is like, Rowan's got game.
How about it?
It's good. It doesn't have like the weird things. Okay, that's a bad thing.
No, okay, so like, I just did like,
Maybe I
That would still be correct.
You look like a mom. Okay, maybe. Because now that I look at it, I
Okay, hey, let's talk about this one up here. Let's talk about this one up here.
No.
So if we solve for W, there's a couple ways we can go about it. Now we need to get all of our W's together, right? We need to get all of our W's together. That's an important step we don't want to miss here, okay? It's an important step we don't want to miss here.
Why are you raising your hand while walking, Peyton? I'm trying to put it down.
Okay, so one thing I would do is say, do we want to subtract by 2W or 7W? typically 2w. Okay, if you subtract by 7w is not wrong. I don't see why. So we have negative y is equal to 5w minus 2. Okay. Now if we get rid of this 2, we have to add 2 to both sides. Okay, that would be our next step. So you can say either negative y plus 2 or 2 minus y. Either way is fine. Negative y plus 2 or 2 minus y. Either way is perfectly fine. Equal to 5w. How do we get the w by itself? Divided by 5. Okay. Now can we divide this by 5 like normal? Like can we actually do that math right now? No. Okay, but we can write that. 2 minus y over 5 is equal to w. Okay. Now let me talk about some different variations of how we might have this written. Talk about some different variations of how we might have this written that are all correct. Okay? So we might also have negative y plus 2 over 5 equals w. That'd be correct. We might also have negative y over 5 plus 2 over 5 equals w. That would be correct. We might also have 2 over 5 minus y over 5 equals w. That would be correct. Okay, you can have like instead of y over 5, you can have like a negative 1 over 5 y plus 2 over 5 equals w. Okay, those would all be correct options. Okay. Now one I heard about could be you could have like that w is equal to w on the left side or the right side. Okay, is equal to y minus 2 over negative 5. Okay, is this the same thing? Okay. Well, this would actually this would not be quite the same thing. I said it was at first. Excuse me. It would not quite be the same thing because that would equal negative w. Okay, that would equal negative w. So we need to make sure. We need to make sure.
Sorry, I'm trying to be quiet.
It's not really
You have
Sorry.
3.
Yeah, she has like 3 different flavors. Sorry.
Is that yours? Yeah. Tastes like donuts.
Actually, wait, no, excuse me. This would be the same thing. I said it was. Okay, excuse me. I went through it again in my head. This would be the exact same thing because the top and the bottom being switched signs would end up being the same thing. Okay, so this would actually be the same thing. Okay, if you had it like this. Excuse me. I said it wasn't. I made a mistake. It is the same thing. Okay, yes, Jocelyn.
Okay, so what if you put negative y equals 5
Negative 5. Negative y equals what?
5w minus
Well, what were we solving for?
2? Oh. So I have to divide by 5.
Yeah.
So like negative y over 5 equals
We need to get that.
negative y over 5 plus 2 equals
You have to plus the 2 first and then divide by 5. But yes. Okay. Any other question on this one? Okay. We're actually gonna skip number 4 for now. We're gonna skip number 4 for now.
really nice.
Okay, fine. Let's walk through it real quick. Have you
We
read
had
it?
a half an hour left.
Oh, it took a little while today. Okay. If I talk about 4 real quick, okay. We're solving for a. We would first want to add x. 3/4 a is equal to x plus k or k plus x. The order we add does not matter. Unit property of addition. The order we add does not matter. Okay, x plus k plus x. How do we get rid of 3/4? What do we have to multiply by? 4/3. Okay, it's like dividing. Stop whispering, please. Okay, thank you. It's like dividing by 3/4. We're multiplying. We can divide by it. When you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal or the reciprocal, as some people like to call it. Okay. So then we have to do it to this side as well. We have to do it to this side as well. Okay. And excuse me, I wrote 3 over 4. It should be 4 over 3. Let me make that. Fix that move. Okay. So simplify out. We left with a is equal to. You can write it a couple of different ways. 4/3 x plus k is acceptable. You can do a is equal to 4 x plus k over 3. You can do a is equal to 4x plus 4k over 3. Let's see what's written down after this forget, okay? Really, any of these 3 options would be acceptable, okay? We see formulas written in any of these 3 ways. We see formulas written in any of these 3 ways, okay? So any of these 3 ways would be acceptable on number 4 there. Rowan.
I just did like 4 over 3k and then plus 4 over 3x.
Yep, that'd be fun. Yeah. That'd just be this, but just splitting up the fraction. Yep, good question. Okay. Any other questions on number 4 real quick? No, I just kind of went through that quickly. Okay. Go right below this. Okay, hey, using formulas. Sometimes solving a formula for a specific variable will help you solve the problem. That's why we're doing this. When using formulas, we may want to use what we call dimensional or unit. Called dimensional or unit analysis. Okay.
That's Katie.
Okay. We want to use dimensional or unit analysis, which is the process of carrying units through a computation. It's the process of carrying units through a computation.
What's a
Okay.
computation?
Computation is just computing something, solving something, doing math, numbers.
Okay, wait, I have a
That's
question.
not what those are abstraction.
So like, imagine like a donut inside of like what you think is supposed to be like minty or like bananas.
Okay. Examples. A car's fuel economy, E in miles per gallon, is given by the formula E, the economy, is equal to miles divided by gallon. Miles per gallon means miles divided by gallon. Where M is the number of miles driven, and G is the number of gallons of fuel used. Okay? So let's solve the formula for M. So I want you to take this formula, E equals M over G, and I want you guys to solve for M. So go ahead, do that.
Wait, what? Oh wait.
Yes. You don't have to show me this one.
Oh, okay.
So if we're solving for M, what's happening with M? Divided. How do we undo division? Multiplication. What are we going to multiply by? G. Now if we multiply the right side by G, what do we do to the left side? Multiply by G, okay? So we have G times E. So G times E is equal to just M. And now we have that solved for M. Hey, now we're going to see this be handy for us in letter B. If yes. Sure.
Wait,
Yes.
can you flip around the
Yes, you could if you wanted, because multiplication is also cumulative. It doesn't matter the order we multiply in. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. So G times E is the same as E times G. Good question. Any other questions on this formula before we move on? Any questions? Okay. Letter B. If Claudia's car has an average fuel consumption of 30 miles per gallon, and she used 9.5 gallons, how far did she drive? Okay. If Claudia's car has an average fuel economy or fuel consumption of 30 miles per gallon, she used 9.5 gallons, how far did she drive? So what are we trying to find? The number of miles. Okay, we're trying to find which letter? M. Hey, if we're trying to find M, do we want the equation to be solved for M? So is that already handy that it's already solved for M? I think so, okay. Ooh, that's some colorful worksheets for me. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's already solved for M. That's convenient for us. So you'll want to use this equation. G times E or E times G is equal to M. Okay? E times G or G times E is equal to M. Okay? Now we can plug in what we know. Do we know what E is?
Well, yes, it's 30.
It's 30. Average fuel consumption of 30 miles per gallon. That's what we're told E is in miles per gallon, the economy. Okay? Do we know what G is? How many gallons used? 9.5. Okay? So can we plug those into this equation and solve for M? Yeah, so let's do it. That's how we use the formula. We take what we know, we plug it in, and we solve for what we don't. So G is 9.5, so we plug it in for G. E is 30, we plug it in for 30, or for E, excuse me. And we solve for M. So we have 9.5 times 30. Questions on the setup of that at all? Questions on the setup of that at all? Does anyone know what that happens to end up being? Okay, it does end up being 285. And what's our unit? Miles. Ooh, it's not miles per gallon, it's just miles. We're talking about distance, okay? Hey, let me talk about this idea of this dimensional analysis here, okay? The idea of dimensional analysis.
If you have miles already for M, why do you have to put miles again after?
Because we're denoting the label of this, because someone who reads it might not know M stands for miles. Now they know we're talking about miles, and not like kangaroos or kilometers. Okay. So let me talk about this idea of unit analysis. Okay. How many of you guys have done unit analysis before? Maybe none of you. That's okay. Okay. So how I set it up is I set it up as like a train track thing. Okay. I actually learned this back in high school personally when I was in chemistry, and I love this way of learning. I think it's really handy. Okay. So we set it up kind of like they call it train tracks. I'm not really sure why they call it train tracks. It doesn't really look like train tracks to me. But anyway. So maybe. So we started with 30 miles per gallon. So if it's 30 miles per gallon, you know that the M's on top and the G's on the bottom, right? If it's per gallon, that's a division problem. Okay? So we're talking 30 miles. So I rate 30 miles on the top per 1 gallon. So that's like our first fraction, okay? This is like 30 over 1. 30 miles per 1 gallon. That's what that means. Is if we have 30 miles per gallon, we have 30 miles for every 1 gallon. Okay? Then, in our next little column here, so we draw a line and say, okay, now next, we would have this 9.5 that we're multiplying by. 9.5 gallons. And we know we're multiplying by it, right? So if we multiply, and this is a fraction, and this is a fraction, are we going to put it in the top or the bottom? The top. I know gallons is over here, don't let that confuse you, okay? We multiply 9.5 and 30. If this is 30, and this is 30 over 1, this is 9.5 over 1, right? Over just 1 of anything, okay? We can think of it that way. So we're multiplying by 9.5 gallons, okay? Because we have 9.5 gallons. Okay? Now what ends up happening here is just like this G and this G, if this is a G over 1 and this G, those divided out, correct? We can also do that with our units. If this is a fraction, this is a fraction, it's like we're multiplying here, okay? This gallon and this gallon can divide out. And now, what unit are we left with? Miles. We're now left with miles, hence why we have miles. And then you multiply across like you would any fraction. 30 times 9.5 ends up being 285. And we divide by 1, which keeps the number the same, doesn't it? So that's how we end up with 285 miles. That's how we change through units, okay? Or dimensions, so to speak. Okay? Dimensions like square units, cube units, okay? That's how we get those. We'll talk about this idea a little bit more later. I believe in this lesson even. As to why, but maybe not this lesson. But about this unit analysis. And it's something that you should end up doing in chemistry as well, which is physics, okay? So I end up with 285 miles. Questions over this concept and idea? Okay? So it's best to think of this as a fraction and then multiply by something else. Okay, a fraction as fractions. We can think of this as one of just no other unit, because this is 30 miles per gallon, full of gallons at the bottom, right? Per the division. This is 9.5 gallons. It's not like per anything else, not gallons per feet, it's just gallons. So we don't have anything down here because it doesn't give us a unit. Going on below this to the second example, then our last example. Okay, the formula for the volume of a cylinder is V, which stands for volume. Okay, is equal to pi r squared h, where r is the radius of the cylinder and h is the height. Pi isn't a variable, pi is a constant number, 3.1415, blah, 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 okay? So r and h and v are variables. V is volume, r is radius of the cylinder, and h is the height. Now we don't know this yet. This is just introducing us to this idea of this formula early on, okay? Solve the formula for h. So we need to solve v is equal to pi r squared h for h. I want you guys to work on solving this for h. Actually, it's not. It's 1 step.
One step. You could have done the way I did though.
Hey, so what's happening with h? We're solving for h. What's happening with h? It's being multiplied by what? Pi and r squared. It's being multiplied by pi and r squared. How do we get rid of multiplication? Divide. What do we have to divide by? Pi r squared. That's what's being multiplied by, right? So we divide by that. If I divide on the right side by that, what am I dividing the left side by? Pi r squared. B over pi r squared. B over pi r squared is equal to, what's pi r squared divided by pi r squared? What's anything divided by itself? 1. So we're just left with 1 times h, which is h. So we have b, make that a d instead of a check, is over pi r squared is equal to h. What was your question, Taylor?
Could you have done it by dividing it by pi and then dividing it by r?
You would just end up getting the same thing, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, if you wanted to, if you're more comfortable with dividing by pi, then dividing by r squared on both sides, that's okay. You'd end up with the same thing. Okay. Was that as scary as we thought it might be? No, it looks a little more intimidating than it is, right? That's meant to be that way. That's why I put it in here. So it looks intimidating, but it's really not. Okay? Just really.
How many numbers is
Infinitely many never ends.
There's a song about it on TikTok.
Of course there is. Okay. Questions on letter A, 2A. Question on 2A. Okay. Letter B. What is the height of a cylindrical swimming pool, a swimming pool in the shape of a cylinder, that has a radius of 12 feet and a volume of 1,810 cubic feet? So what are we solving for here? What are we trying to find? H. Hey, is that convenient?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we already solved the formula for H. Would it have been convenient if we were just given this formula? No, but now that we solved it for H, this is a lot more convenient. So do we know what V is? What is it? 1,810. Do we know what R is? What is it? 12. Can we plug these in and now solve for H? Let's plug it in, okay? I want you guys to practice plugging it in. So go ahead and plug it in and set it up. Don't quite solve yet. Just plug it in and set it up.
Can't you switch them?
Like
Can
the
you put
sides.
pi r square on top and then put b on the bottom? Just kidding.
Because
then
1 over
would it
5
be
and 5 over
squaring-
1 are the same thing. Does that make sense? Right.
Would it be squaring just the radius? Or would
It would just be squaring it into the radius, yeah. I just want you guys to set it up for now, though. You don't have to start solving. I just want you guys to write it down, set it up, just plug in what we know. Okay. Can I get somebody to tell me how to write this in here? Somebody to tell me how to write this in here, okay, Alyssa?
18
Exactly right. 1810 over pi times 12 squared equals h. And just like Riley asked and Alyssa said, we only square the 12. You're not squaring the pi, just the 12. So I put the 12 in parentheses to make sure we're just squaring that. Okay. Questions on the setup? We just plug in what we do. Okay. So now to solve this, I would say, okay, 1810 is equal to, what's 12 squared? 144. Okay. Now oftentimes we'll write the pi after it. So we say 144 pi. If you write pi times 144, it's not technically wrong. We just normally write pi after it. Yes.
you can't, like, you have to put pi in there, don't you?
It's right here now. 144 pi.
Yeah, but like, would it be times it?
Yeah, we would. But I just did the exponent first. I literally just did the exponent.
Okay, I see.
Well, that's how eyesight works. That's good. Okay. So now we have h is equal to 1,810 over 144 pi. Okay. Now let's do scientific calculators. Okay. So you guys are free to use your phone or the scientific calculator here. Okay. You guys can't use your phone on a test though for a calculator. So it might be a good idea to practice this. Okay. I'll talk about that. So it might be a good idea to practice these. Okay. Now. If you guys want to use your phone, but you guys don't have your phone available on a quiz or test, so you might want to practice using these. Okay. Now I don't have enough of the kind that I like more. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get some of you guys who I don't like as much as well. So you guys might have to practice using both. Okay. And you guys are free to use your own. Okay. I'm gonna have to get some of both here as well on this. Okay.
Why did you say?
They ran out because people ran off.
Why is mine not-
Ready to go back to school or no?
You're gonna find that.
So I'll talk about how to use that one.
I haven't.
Okay, but
I mean, I know how to use it. Yeah.
okay, you can't use your phone on a test.
I also have my graphing calculator.
Can I just put,
Okay, if you want to use a graphing calculator or a scientific we type this in, okay? You would put in your calculator, okay? If you have, let me hold up, let's say if you have one of these, the TI-30X with the slide off cover that looks like this. If you have one of these, okay? How you would type this in right now, I'm talking to you guys, okay? Is you would type in first 1810. Then you push the division symbol, and it shows a slash. Okay, you type in 1810, then you push the division symbol, and it shows a slash. Okay, then you start a parenthesis. After that division. You put 144, and there should be a pi button on there. There's a pi button. Okay, that pi button is just on the far left, a little over halfway up. On the far left, a little over halfway up, there's a pi button. You put 144 pi. Close your parenthesis, push enter. Okay? You should get h approximately to, let's go to 3 decimal places is what? Excuse me, not pi, h is approximately 3 decimal places. 4.001, okay? Is 4.001. In this case, we're talking feet. We're talking feet earlier, okay? So this ends up being 4.001, okay? 4.001. Okay. Those were the TI-30s. Do you have any questions on this? Those are the TI-30s. You have questions on this? Okay. Those without the TI-30s, I'm talking to you now. Okay. What you'll have to do is you'll first have to type in. See, there should be a pipe. There's our pipe. Maybe not. You might have to approximate 5. Okay. Those without the TI-30s, what you have to do is you have to type in first. 144 times 3.14. 144 times 3.14. We'll use 3.14 as an approximation for pi. So you'll type in 144 times 3.14. We'll use that as an approximation for pi, okay? And what's that end up being? Let's go to 3 decimal places as well. Let's go to the same amount. What did you end up getting? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Grady. Say it again. 452.16, no third decimal. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Okay? So now we take 1810 divided by this, because we're saying this 144 times 3.14 replaces this in the fraction. So now your next thing is you would take 1810 divided by 452.16, and you would type that in your calculator, and you should end up getting the same number. You end up getting 4.0. What did you get, Brady? 4.003. Okay, so is that very, very close? Okay, so if you're that close and you show your work, I will give that to you. Okay, if you show your work and you show that you did this, I will give that to you 100% of the time.
Go us.
Okay, yes, Melissa. This ends up being in the unit of feet. So we start out in cubic feet. So feet cubed. Okay, and then we end up dividing by. So in the bottom section, we end up dividing by 144 square feet, because it's 12 feet times 12 feet. So it's going to be square feet. So we end up getting this down to none, and this down to just the first power of feet. Okay, so it ends up being just feet. Okay, questions on the calculator usage. Okay, if you have trouble on a test and how to use a calculator, I can help you type things into a calculator on a test. I can help you do that. Okay. If you have scientific calculators at home, I suggest you bring those as well. Questions on that at all? Dang! Okay. Using formulas. Okay. So now I'm going to pass out our homework real quick. Okay, and I do have a special instructional lesson homework for you guys. Okay, I do have a special instructional lesson homework for which problems you're doing.
Stop being legit.
I was aggressive.
Be aggressive. Be
I love that.
Does that make you proud, Peyton?
Yeah.
I practice it all the time, so.
Now where's the motion?
Oh, you all have to try and teach me that one more. Later on, you guys teach me that, okay? Hey, so on this one, on the front, there's a front and a back, okay? There's a front and a back. Okay, on the front, just the odds. On the back, I want you to do all of them, okay? So on the front, just the odds. On the back, I want you to do all of them. Questions on that? Front, just the odds. In the back, I'll do all of them. Okay? Questions on that? Okay? There's about 8 minutes left here, okay? So you guys can listen to music if you want. I won't take too long to set that up. Okay, I'm gonna play music back on my laptop as well. Okay, if you guys have questions, please ask. This will be a great opportunity for you guys to get a bit of a head start as well, okay? A bit of a head start as well. And if you guys do have questions between now and when this is due, you guys can come in before after school, ask me to put you on the study hall list, that's okay. Reminder, our test is when? Next Tuesday, a week from today, okay? Next Tuesday, a week from today. We have a review, we're gonna work on a review on Thursday, okay? When you guys are all done with your scientific calculators, they do go up here. Okay, everybody look up here, good. Scientific calculators go up here in this box marked scientific calculators. What? No way. Yes.
I didn't ask about my English.
Oh.
I'm just going crazy.